morning. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Take questions for Coach Traylor. Just use the raise hand function and wait for me to call on you. JJ. JJ, you're up.
Jeff, what'd you see on film after watching this week's game?
It was a good football game. It was about what we expected. We had prepared all week. We gave the analogy of you're going to Philadelphia and they're known for Rocky Balboa, and it's going to be a 16-round boxing match, and it literally was 16 rounds. It went down to the very end, and it's about just what we expect it to be, honestly, JJ.
Jeff, what happened in that third quarter? I guess what it seemed like the game flipped there.
I think their opening drive was big. The third down and 11 completion. We're in two deep, man under. The back shoulder fade to 11. I thought that was a huge play in the drive. But you can't allow the drive. You can't have that happen on defense. You're up 14-3. You got to get them off the field there. We come out and probably the worst ball I went through all day. To the inside fade to McEwen. Their safety overplayed it. Ball hung up in the wind a little bit. They come out unbalanced set. We don't communicate very well. They bust a run on us. The only really big run they had all day. So momentum's totally gone. Unbelievable job by our offense going right down the field. And one of the best drives I've ever seen McCowan play. One of the best throws I've ever seen him make. Got hit right in his mouth, throwing the flag right to McEwen. And then I didn't like the call on 3rd and 6 where we called the screen. I thought that was just too predictable. It was a bad call on our part. Really bad punt. He kicked the ground. That's very unfortunate. And so there's 21 points. Played a great fourth quarter. Gave us every opportunity to win the game. And we got off the running game too quick. Had a few issues with Robert, just with hydration. And some problems with just the heat and probably some overuse, through the year. So that hurt us, but I still thought we got off the running game too quickly. We were blocking them too good up front to not give him to give Will more of a chance. Got too pass happy in my opinion. But an unbelievable drive by our kids to take the lead, and then you had the RPO that got tipped and went straight up in the air. And so the one throw he made was bad on the fade to the slot. The tip was bad luck, and us not capitalizing on Shadrack Banks' unbelievable punch of the ball, and us not recovering the football those are the games. And so far we've been in 3 one-possession ball games. We're 1-2. Historically we've been in a ton of these, and we've won our fair share of them, but we're 1-2 this year, which is frustrating. If you win those 2, this season feels way different.
Greg.
Jeff, when you talk to your players this week in the meeting setting, what is your message about where the team stands right now, and just where do you guys go from here as a group?
Just about what I just told JJ. I mean, I'm just as real with them as I am. As real as I can be with y'all. Obviously, I can't answer every one of your questions totally authentically. I do the best I can to help, because I know you guys have jobs and you got people out there that are upset and they want answers, so I really do try to help y'all there. But I can be more real with my guys, behind the scenes of what really happened. Greg, I've never really believed in embarrassing players, by calling them out to the media. I just think there's something to be said for that behind closed doors. I think that is the secret to why our kids have always competed here. And I understand our fan base is upset that we didn't win these close games, but I'm proud of how our guys always compete. They're always in the game. And if you want to have high blood pressure and not much hair, be a Roadrunner fan. I never let the facts in the way of a good story. The more Frank is gone, the more we blew out everybody, and there were never any close games. Where guys that have been around for a long time know we've made a living on these games, and I wish we could blow people out, Greg. And I wish we were that much superior to people. But in the new landscape of college football, there's going to be a lot of these one-possession ball games.
You touched on the running game a little bit a moment ago, but can you focus on that a little bit more? What were the biggest challenges to getting that going at a higher level this weekend?
We didn't run real well, in my opinion. I mean, we just didn't. A couple of times on outside zone, we didn't trust it. If you go back and watch it, there was a lot more. We still gained 8 and 6 and 8, but there's a lot more there than that. On our duo play, our push play, we misidentified that a couple of times up front, which led to some negatives, which that's uncharacteristic of us. Then I thought we got away from it. A lot of that had to do with Robert's availability, but Will Henderson's a really good back too.
You mentioned the situation with Robert. How does that impact going forward the rest of the season? Do you have to kind of manage his workload here, or what do you expect in that regard?
I've talked to our team doctors and our training staff, and we think we've got a plan in place to help Robert the rest of the year.
How about in the downfield passing game? What has to happen to open that up a little bit more? Is there anything you can identify there?
Oh, I thought we were good, honestly. We weren't great. We were good. We were better. There's a post I think he was about to get to, and the 3 technique kind of splashed in his face. So he threw the over to Houston on that play. We got to keep trying it. He was about to hit AJ on the change-up fly, and the defensive end, gave a outside move and came under. He flushed, made an unbelievable 20-yard completion on a scramble. Kid played good. I know nobody wants to say that. It's easy to blame him. Watch the game and be honest with yourself. I wish he had the ball back on the inside fade. I do. That was a bad ball and a bad choice. But the kid played well and gave us a chance to win. Go watch the penalty on 3rd and 5 on the 2-minute drive, which now made it 3rd and 20. Go find that penalty and just watch that one for me, and you let me know your opinion. And then watch him scramble to get us back to 4th and 3 and hit Amador. The kid played his tail off. And for everybody that's piling on the kid, it reminds me a lot of when they used to pile on Frank as well. Man, I'm going to defend him just like I did Frank. And when he plays bad, he knows it. And the plays he doesn't make, he knows it. But I thought the kid played well.
AJ.
Jeff, in the first half, Owen was probably as sharp as we've seen him all season long. What do you think led to that?
A lot of work. Those guys are out there now. It helps when they practice, man. AJ's the only one that stayed healthy. McCoy didn't play. Hardy played a little bit. But, man, Houston Thomas showed up. Dan Dishman showed up. Patrick Overmeyer showed up. AJ showed up. Amador showed up. McEwen showed up. We played well. And that's what nobody really wants to say because we didn't win. There's some calls we always wish we had back. There's no doubt. But the swing pass, the penalty to Dan, holding over there, it's a killer. That's a killer. It's 1st and 20 now instead of 2nd, 7 or 8. And we're not good enough right now to overcome those things, and you got to be to win the game.
Greg.
Jeff, you were obviously just very complimentary of Owen. In the big picture, his numbers statistically just aren't, it doesn't match up to what he did last year. Is that, on things you see around the offense, or is there something he's not doing that he did last year? How do you sort of explain that gap a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit of both. We made, you had to go back through each one of them. And a lot of it is coaching. Some of it's him. And there's some other factors. We've ran the ball, Greg, way more. We couldn't run the ball last year, so we've taken away a lot of those easy. Just we were kind of running the ball last year, Greg, by throwing quicker. So it pads your stats a little bit. And we're way more committed to running the football this game. But guess what? We didn't in this game. I'm sorry, I misspoke. We're way more committed to running the ball this year than we have been in the past. But we weren't in this game. So that inflated his passing stats a little bit, and I still think there's got to be a balance there. We've got to do a better job of balancing out our offense.
I think it's pretty obvious from how you've talked about him so far this morning, but a lot of your fans want to know if you've given any consideration to looking at Brandon Tennyson, or if there's any possibility that a quarterback change could be something that's on your mind at all.
No, there's 100% no chance in hell that's been discussed, thought about, and will ever happen. I've said that since the beginning of time with me. I'm not in the quarterback shuffling game. I stayed with Frank Harris, and everybody wanted the same stuff. I'm riding with McCowan. So everybody's got that opinion. They're barking up the wrong tree. I will not budge on that.
When that sentiment is out there in that way, do you have to do anything with Owen to make sure that that doesn't get to him or rattle him at all?
He's a quarterback. He deals with that nonsense at all times. All of them do.
JJ,
Jeff, is there any, I guess, under any condition where you would consider changing who calls the offensive plays?
Zero. Never been a possibility. It won't be.
Greg.
Along those lines, just to follow up on that point, how do you assess just sort of the situations that you guys put the players in from a coaching and play calling perspective? How do you evaluate your coordinators to this stage of the season?
We're 2-3. We've not done a good job coaching.
Particularly in this game, it seemed like the sort of halftime adjustments, or maybe it was just something else that you can point to. But Temple obviously had a better go of it in the second half. Is there anything you see when you look back on the game from like an adjustments perspective that you guys wish you could have done differently, or that you would change going back?
There always are.
JJ.
Jeff, I know we talked about the third quarter, but just overall in the game, how would you evaluate your defense's play up to this point this season?
I think it's all three phases, JJ. I would say we are playing good enough to be in the game, but not good enough to win the game. We are getting better in all three phases of the game each week. We really are. This team is continually to improve. And I know from a fan's perspective that's hard to understand, but when you really study the video, we are getting better. And the 50-50 balls in the secondary, their kids went up and made the plays. And our kids didn't. And that's on coaching. But you got to go win those 50-50 balls. And we got to keep stressing that. Like, we got to make those plays on those tight ends. You can't let them have those catches. You got to make the play on the 3rd and 11. You got to knock that ball down. Somehow we got to get it out of there. And we did enough of that. I mean, Davin did that. KK did that. Tyon did that. J. Lou did that. Jimmy did that. But there's times we didn't do that. So my point being, we played good enough to be in the game. We just haven't played good enough to win the game.
I wanted to ask about penalties. I know you discussed one of them, and there were a few close calls there, but I think you guys were penalized 9 times. What would your evaluation of some of those penalties be overall?
I just, I don't want to get fined right now. Brian Platt does a great job overseeing all that. We have some tremendous difference of opinions on how the calls were made, in my opinion. But I respect Brian and the job he does. He evaluates his officials hard. He holds them to a high standard. I just disagreed with how he saw it and how his crew saw it. The great thing about it, it's on video. So you get to go watch it. You can decide yourself, JJ.
Greg.
Jeff, we've asked you about a lot of potential changes and things like that this morning, but does it inspire any confidence in you to know that last year you guys hit some low points and a lot of these coaches and these players were able to figure it out? How does that sort of change the mindset as you go through this period now?
It's 6 years we've hit low points. I heard the same nonsense when we lost to North Texas. We were 11-0. I mean, there's not been a year I haven't heard this stuff, man. It's 21 years. It's the same people. And they all mean well. They all mean well. That's where we get this all confused. When they quit griping, we're in trouble at UTSA, because that means people don't care anymore. These people care. And what they don't understand is maybe sometimes in me trying to be as calm as I possibly can be and think, it might look like I don't care. But there's no one that cares more about this place. And I know my alumni are passionate, and I love them for that. And I know it's impossible for somebody that's an alumni to understand that a man that's only been here for 6 years can love a place like they love this place. But there's no one that hurts more than me when the UTSA Roadrunners don't win. And I don't think we can ever mistake the passion of our fan base for wanting me fired, Lep fired, Owen fired, Brown fired, and Coach Burke fired. That means they care. When they quit caring, that's when we're in trouble. And we got to make sure we win enough games they don't quit caring.
JJ.
Jeff, can you touch on what you expect from Rice this week? Are you expecting another kind of close game?
I am. I think Coach Abel does a great job. They hired another great hire. I think Temple made a great hire in Casey Wheeler. I think Rice made a great hire in Scott Abel. He's had the leading rushing offense in the country for 5 straight years, I believe. They're committed to running that thing. They're very much like playing an academy school. The quarterback can really go. The running back can really go. Their linemen are big. They're physical. They've got 2 receivers that can really go. Defensively, I have the utmost respect for John Kay. Very similar stories. You know, high school coach in the state of Texas, had a great career coordinating there now. He has those guys playing really well. And it'll be another NFL-style ball game, in my opinion. Really close, right down to the very end. And we're excited for the opportunity to bounce back.
Anything else for Coach Traylor? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Sorry, man. Appreciate y'all. God bless. Birds up.